and welcome into one of our favorite segments, and yours too, To Your Health with Carl Schmidt at the Herb Shop. And we need to change some things in our lifestyle, but we need to understand why and not just have everything that is given to us just be taken blindly. I think that everybody has a great mind to process things and make good decisions, but you have to have good information in order to do that.
Yes.
And I thought that the history that you were sharing with me about the Flexner Report, I was not familiar with that. So would you share that with our audience?
Yes. The Flexner Report dates back to the 1900s. The Carnegies and the Rockefellers were some of the wealthiest families of that generation in that time period. And today we have billionaires of their own influence, like Bezos with Amazon and other Gates, for example, and they have influences on our medical and health care as well. But back then, it was a transition and an economic model and a mindset to look at health care more compartmentalized and rigid structured education. In other words, they wanted to be able to cookie cutter all doctors through a same process, and in the results they eliminated what's considered naturopathic or holistic or homeopathic education. And the difference between what we know today as our healthcare model in America is called the allopathic medicine, and what was considered naturopath or functional medicine is another current word that's used to do that. And holistic, functional, all that natural is we're looking at how the body functions down to the deepest cellular, mitochondrial, the organelles inside the mitochondria. What are all the processes that need to be supported, whether toxins need to be removed, what are all the processes? But our healthcare model, both with the FDA and the USDA, all our government agencies are looking at symptoms and standardized processes of treating symptoms, never really stepping back and going, what were some of the sources of the symptom and how that developed? And so they organized an economic and a structural system of treating each category of the body, like your immune system or your hormone system. An endocrinologist will do that, or your digestive system, a gastroenterologist, or different compartments. And so in natural health, we're stepping back and looking at the big picture. We're looking at a history. We're looking at a lifestyle. We're looking at many factors that led up to your current event. Instead of just taking an aspirin and calling you in the morning, we're looking at, okay, if you keep hitting your head with a hammer, maybe you should stop, So we're looking at a lot of moving parts in natural and holistic care, and it takes a lot longer, and standard of care in an economic model didn't think that was financially beneficial for the industry. So these rules and systems were put into place well over 100 years ago. Right. Not that they were right, that's just what happened. And Bobby Kennedy today is making very direct action and kind of reopening that mission of natural and holistic and functional, and looking at where did we go wrong and how did we get here and what do we need to do from here on.
It would seem to me, like it's like the pendulum. It swings way far right, way far left, there has to be a lot of common sense somewhere there, somewhere in the middle, mm-hmm. because there are some good things mm-hmm. With your traditional, but the understanding, to me it's always seems strange that you treat symptoms but not the disease.
Right.
And that doesn't make sense.
Well, we compartmentalize our truths and our facts, and we think that many things are infectious when they're not. So when antibiotics were discovered, when Pasteur
right.
Found the cure and penicillin, that gave a lot of credence to the system, if you will. But a lot of things are multi-factored and cross-factored, and that's not always considered. So we have some great things over the years from medicine that would fight an infection. However, now we have antibiotic resistant issues that we didn't have 50 years ago. So many people, they've run out of antibiotics that there's no choice. There's nothing that will solve a problem. And then other invading things like viral issues. So in holistic and natural, the bottom line is to still give the body the resources to do the job correctly, and to believe that there is a better tomorrow, and to enable the body to function at a greater capacity year after year instead of a worse factor, and to just immediately intercede. The body's trying to learn how to fight something. If you give it the vitamin C and the D and the E and all these nutrition all on a daily basis, and you don't contaminate it with artificial ingredients, the body's going to function better.
You know, we were talking about how easy it is to reach for Tylenol or to reach for all this over-the-counter stuff. Mm-hmm. But what we don't realize is the damage. You know, agreed, it has to be probably a long-term use, probably a lot of use, but not always. Mm-hmm.
No, I saw, my daughter was telling me she saw on social media how when there was some discussion about Tylenol recently, and the woman was pregnant, and she took a whole bottle of Tylenol and died while she's pregnant. I mean, and I don't know the whole outcome of that, but it was very traumatic on the theory that Tylenol was perfectly safe and you could take unlimited amount. People have got to get back to some common sense in America and direction. When you get sick enough, there are things that can kind of get you out of the ditch, but why did you get off the road to begin with? And that's where daily routine habits come into place. And that's where working with a naturopath.
So I think it would be fair to say that knowledge, you would advise there's some good, some bad, and everything, and knowledge, just find out everything you possibly can.
Right.
Carl, thank you so much for being with us, and we'll have some more information for you next week. Thanks for being with us, everybody.